Hey everybody, and welcome to my channel where we talk tech. Today we're going to be covering the K100 from Corsair with the OPX switches. This is Corsair's flagship keyboard, and it boasts some very impressive features such as an 8000 Hz polling rate, sleek aluminum design with edge lighting, and a customizable wheel for iCUE. But really, are those features worth it if it costs you $250? So let's talk about it. I daily drove this keyboard for 9 months when I was working on my online master's degree, so it saw a lot of use. About a year ago I stopped using it and switched to a different keyboard. So let's talk pros and cons. Make sure you stick around to the end though, because I'm going to cover the one reason why I do not daily drive this keyboard anymore. Pro number one is the keyboard switches. The K100 comes with two different types of switches, OPX switches or optical-mechanical switches, or actual true mechanical switches. OPX switches use an infrared light to detect actuation instead of mechanical keyboards which use an actual metal contacts to determine actuation. This means they're actually faster and more reliable than true mechanical switches. These particular switches boast a 1mm actuation point and a travel of 3.2mm, which is very impressive. These are very similar to Cherry MX speed switches, which are the other switches that the K100 is offered in. The OPX switches are not the quietest of all switches, but they aren't the loudest either. I don't want to dwell too long on these particular switches because switches are a very personal preference. It's not something that I can tell you that you're going to love them or you're going to hate them. You need to go to your Best Buy or your Micro Center or whoever carries this keyboard and test them out for yourself and make sure that they are something that you like. Pro number two, USB pass-through. This is a feature that I actually missed when I left this particular keyboard. This keyboard comes with a very nice braided cable that terminates in two USB-A plugs. One of them goes to the USB port that is the pass-through port on the top of the keyboard. I found that I was using this pass-through USB port on the daily. I was using it for flash drives and hooking up controllers to my computer when I was playing games and other random things throughout the day to charge my wireless mouse and other things. It just makes it really easy when you just know which way you need to put the USB port in and you don't fumble around. It's right there. You don't have to reach around your computer and reach to get into the USB port. Pro number three, premium keycaps and RGB. The K100 comes with per key RGB lighting. This means that you can customize and do RGB effects that are unique to your own, and that you can set it up to be very intricate. Something that is unique to this keyboard, and I have not seen on very many other keyboards, is the edge lit RGB lights. It adds a certain flair to your desktop when you have this glow around your keyboard. The K100 comes with PBT double shot keycaps that are very impressive. They're very durable. I've not noticed any shining going on or wearing on the keycaps. These keycaps allow the RGB to shine through and for the legend to be large and clear. This particular keyboard actually comes with additional keycaps if you wanted to texturize your WASD keys or some of the surrounding keys if you wanted. Pro number four, onboard storage and macros. The K100 is capable of storing 200 profiles that contain RGB and macros. I don't know if you'd ever actually use all 200 even come close, but it's cool that you can actually be able to do that. On the left side of the keyboard there are 6 macro keys that can be mapped using Elgato's Stream Deck software. These 6 keys work as a mini Stream Deck without the displays. What I use these 6 keys for is controlling OBS and these lights that I have around my desk. I would like to do more pros on this keyboard, but at the same time I really need to focus on the cons because those are the things that people are going to notice when you're using this particular keyboard. Con number one is it's very expensive. The K100 is one of the most expensive mainstream keyboards to come out. At the time of filming, this is right around $250. At launch, this keyboard was $230. At the time of filming, though, it is now $250. But if you keep on looking around, I have been able to find it right around the $200. This is a lot of money to spend on a keyboard, and there's many other keyboards around that you could spend that have similar feature sets. For example, the Logitech G815 comes around $170. Another keyboard from Corsair that I really like is the K70, which comes in right around $160, which means that you save $90 in buying this particular keyboard. Con number 2, this keyboard is huge. The K100 comes as a full-size keyboard with the additional 6 keys on the side. I find myself smacking the side of the keyboard with my mouse when I play games just because it's so large. I wish they would have come out with a 10 keyless model of this particular keyboard, which would have made it more usable for people that don't need the number pad. Con number 3, gimmicky features. Some of these features seem very unnecessary for general users. For example, the 8000 Hz polling rate. Most keyboards only have 1000 Hz polling rate, and that is more than sufficient. Another feature they brag about is the Axon SoC controller that is embedded within this keyboard. This SoC is your typical keyboard controller, but it also handles all the lighting effects and allows you to do 20 layers of lighting effects in one profile. That sounds really cool in theory, but in my case, I normally use 2 or 3 layers, and that was all I would use when setting up lighting. Maybe I'm boring when I play games, but I like to watch my screen, not my keyboard when I play games. Another gimmicky feature is the scroll at the top of the keyboard. It can be used to turn down your RGB light or control other things in iCUE. I found that I never actually used it, and it just doesn't really feel that nice when you actually do turn the wheel and you press the button in the center. The scroll wheel itself doesn't have a very tactile feeling when you rotate it, and the button in the middle just feels like a very cheap button. Con number 4 is the limited switches. The K100 only comes in 2 switch types, and both those are very similar. Both these switches are linear and have very short travel. This may not be suitable for all people that would be interested in this particular keyboard. If you prefer a tactile or a clicky switch, this keyboard is not going to work for you. Con number 5, iCUE. Even though the K100 has a lot of onboard storage, it still requires the software in order to operate fully. Some days it's not responsive at all, and it's not very helpful. It's happened more than once. I've started up my computer and iCUE is just a white screen and it refuses to start. And that means that your RGB settings are just all over the place and your profiles are messed up. If you're a person that just wants plug and play, you want to set it up once and forget about it, iCUE is not really for you. iCUE has a lot of updates, and every time they send out an update, they fix some issues, but I feel like they make some as well. And now for the bonus con. This is the reason why I don't daily drive this keyboard, is key wobble. The tolerances on these key switches is so loose that they just wobble in your fingers, and it just drove me nuts every time I used it. I think that is part of the reason why they're so loud, is there's just so much play in the switches themselves. Maybe I just got a bad batch, but that is the reason why I don't daily drive this keyboard. So there you have it, that's the pros and cons of the K100. Overall, it's an excellent keyboard. There are some very fancy features built into this keyboard, but there's also a lot of things that were a little rough around the edges. Who I would recommend this keyboard for would be somebody who really likes this particular switch type. I would not recommend this to somebody just based on these features that it has. What do you think though? Let me know down in the comments below. What is your opinion as far as the K100? Have you tried it out at Best Buy? Have you seen it at your friend's house? Let me know down below what you think of it and whether or not this price is too high for this keyboard that has a lot of gimmicky features. If you've enjoyed the video this far, I'd ask that you like and subscribe down below and catch more content that's similar to this where I review tech and talk about my experience with it. Thanks for watching.